Hello world, it's Kurtis Potter with Boundless Inspiration. Now it may be hard for you to see, but that says born. Born boundless. In today's video, we're doing this series on intentional relationships. So I just wanted to start it off there. We are born boundless, right? We don't have any fear that's holding us back in life because we really know nothing that can harm us. That's why when you're a kid, you have that childlike, let's try this, let's do this, let's jump off the couch. It's not until the first time you bust your head that it's like, okay, now I can have fear. Right? But when you're a kid, you dream and then if you look at society, you start to get in these habits of getting fearful and you just get complacent and life and you just, if you're not intentional, life can start dictating the outcome for you. So in this series on intentional relationships, I want to ask you a question. Are you intentional with your life? This video is about intentional relationships with our life. Because see, if you're not intentionally focusing on controlling something, then it's actually controlling you. So are you intentional about your life? See, I did some research and I saw how many benefits that there is to actually being intentional about your life and your schedule and your time and your health and your habits. See, it increases clarity. It helps you have an understanding of why you're doing the things that you're doing. So you're not just kind of going throughout the day and like, hey, let's see what happens. We're going to stay positive no matter what happens. You actually have clarity on everything. So if you're intentional, you know why you're doing the things you're doing, right? It actually gives you a sense of gratitude. It helps you achieve goals. So when you're intentional on it, for instance, my workout regimen, you know what? I have that gratitude that I made the decision to make that happen, right? And it's almost like having a to-do list for your life. Because when you're intentional about it, then you're going to start knocking things off the list. So you're not one of those people that look back at their life and say, I wish I coulda. I wish I woulda. I knew I coulda. And dang it, I shoulda, right? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. How many times do we say that in life? Chances are it's because I wasn't intentional on it. And when you put intention into your life, then you can knock out some different things. So I call it the trifecta, the body, mind, and soul. And if you get intentional on those areas, a lot of other things come. Your finances start looking better. Your day starts looking better. Your relationships with your family, your spouse, your friends, your work. Being intentional in life, it's hard. Change is hard, and if you've never been intentional and you just allow the day to go by, it's gonna feel weird. I know that I did that because when I started putting everything on a calendar, it was like, but what if? What if? Well, things are gonna come at me in my day, and you know what? Life happens. Sometimes, no matter how intentional you're trying to be, you're going to get thrown those curveballs. And it's okay. I used to have so much, I was almost becoming a robot because I was just so focused going forward and so intentional that it was almost unhealthy. And then whenever, I had such high expectations for my day, because I wasn't being intentional on balance, right? I was so straightforward that I didn't give myself time for that relaxing. Sometimes I got to be intentional about giving myself some time just to unwind and watching silly videos on TikTok or for you, it might be, you got to be intentional about just watching TV with the spouse. You got to be intentional about being present as a parent. With this entrepreneur mindset, it was really hard for me when I started having kids and I had to slow down and be intentional about playing with my kids. So when I get home, I just put my phone away. And most times my son's wanting to go to the sandbox and he's wanting to wrestle. And, I didn't understand the importance of it until I see how important it is to my son and my daughter. And just being intentional about giving them baths every night and reading to them every night. And that's that time where now my son, he'll randomly be like, Daddy, can you read to me? And I'm like, son, it's only 5 o'clock. It's only 6 o'clock. I know, Dad, but will you read to me? And just that effect that it's having on my children from when I was being intentional on reading to them. See, our lives aren't just about us. And that was hard for me to fathom as well. There's so many times in my life where I was like, as long as I'm happy, but then I started to realize the effect it had on my wife. Like how intentional I am with my habits, my finances, my health. Reading to those children, how I reacted versus how I responded, how I thought. Because see, folks, there was a lot of times where I was like, I was told, and especially like in men's group, thoughts come in your mind, but it's all about how you act upon them. And yeah, that's all good and everything. But I was like, why do I still have all these negative thoughts coming in my mind? Well, because a lot of times it was how intentional I was with the stuff I was watching, how intentional I was with the stuff I was reading, how intentional I was with how much I looked at social media. And a lot of times it's negative. How intentional, I turned off the news because I was not being intentional. I was just watching the news and it is so negative and it just puts filth and garbage into your mind. I haven't watched the news in a long time. I had to become intentional with my life because, see, we're born boundless. You can achieve anything you want in life, but I'm here to tell you it's not just going to happen by chance. You know what? Sometimes people just have amazing things that happen to them. Somebody could just come into your life and bless you like no other. I had somebody give me a motorcycle one time, and I was like, what? I mean, it was used. It was like worth $1,500, and I'm not downplaying it at all. But I was just helping somebody move, and they had a motorcycle in their garage, and he was just talking, man, do you know what? I've had that thing in here forever, and I've got another one at another buddy's house, and I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, it's just been sitting there collecting dust. I was like, how much you want to sell it for? You know what? I've been looking for a motorcycle. And I'm sure my wife would be happy if I didn't go buy a brand new one that's 20 racks, 15 or whatever. He said, you can have it. You know what? You go over there and help me get it. You can have it. What? People, you know what? Sometimes amazing things will happen to you. But you can't bet on it. It's not going to happen to everybody. You know what? Not everybody's going to have somebody that's going to come in and bless them. Things aren't just going to be given to you. A buddy of mine told me the other day, he's like, man, Kurtis, dude, you have one of the hardest work ethics. I said, man, because I grew up poor. I remember when I was 5 and I was like, Mom, I want a Nintendo 64. And she's like, I'm sorry, son. For birthdays, you get $25, and for Christmas, you get $50. So I'll buy it for you. You know what? If you don't want any Christmas or birthdays for like 4 or 5 years, I'll buy it for you. And I remember that moment, I was like, no, you know what? I want it. And I started selling bubblegum and rocks, 5 years old. I had to become intentional. From that moment, I was intentional. And you think about it, how many times in your life have you been intentional and it benefited you? How many times in your life were you not intentional and it didn't benefit you? Today, I just invite you, become intentional again with your life so you don't look back and regret. If you're watching these videos, I know you have it in you. You have it in you to become intentional in any area of your life. If there's any area of your life in this series on intentional relationships, you have the capability to make a decision right now, turn your life around and say, I'm just taking a step forward. You know what? There's times where you're going to fall. It's life. We all fall. It's how fast you shift and get back up. Acknowledge that you fell. Interrupt it with, you know what? I've fallen before, and replace it with, I can do it again because I've done it again. We're not robots. We're not perfect. We're imperfectly perfect, right? So just give yourself some grace. Be like, you know what? Celebrate those times. You know, I'm celebrating that I got back up. I'm celebrating that I'm taking the initiative to move forward. I'm celebrating that I didn't stay complacent. You know what? I'm celebrating that I fell because that was actually a blessing. Because most times and most people, it's those falls, it's those fails, it's those people telling you can't that actually pushes you to do it. Celebrate that we're all going to work together on becoming intentional with our lives. Because again, if you're not intentional with your life, if you're not controlling your life, then it's controlling you. If you don't become a master of this life, then life's going to master you. Do you want to master? I know back in the day they had actual slaves. But think about how many things you're a slave to in your life. Chances are it's because you're not being intentional about it. If you know somebody that needs to hear this, please like, share, comment, tag. If you have once been a slave to something in life because you was not intentional on it, and then you became intentional on it and how you took back control of your life, put it in the comment section. Hey, you know what? This is what I did. Because you may have a story that just touches somebody's heart. This video could have stoked a fire in somebody, but your story, your comment, your feedback could be the thing that just pushes them to like, you know what? This person, they wasn't intentional about stopping smoking cigarettes, and then they was, and now they're not. They did it. I can do it. Their workout, their finances, their relationship, their job, their dreams and goals in life, their inventions, their hobbies, their parenting. What? They did it. Put a comment down in the comment section. Give me some love. Give me some feedback. Whatever it is, put it down there. Share it because you never know. Somebody in your Facebook, social media group, whatever, they could be struggling. You don't even know it. See, the thing is whenever I had suicidal thoughts, I was allowing everything to control me, including my mind. And it was because I had a bunch of guilt, shame, regret because I wasn't achieving. I had these goals when I was younger, like, hey, by 25 this, by 30 this, by 35 I just turned 35. And it was actually another hard birthday for me because I was like, man, I haven't achieved what I wanted to. Because I wasn't being intentional about my days, which was making it me not being intentional about my weeks, my months. And then just like right now, think about it. We got like 45 days left till the end of the year. What? 2021 is almost already over. And if you don't get intentional with the rest of this year, it's probably going to flow over to next year. But I'll tell you what, we're not going to do that. If you're still watching this video, we're going to get intentional with the rest of the year. And then, you know what, January 1st, it's like, Happy New Year's. We got our New Year's resolutions. And instead of them failing like most do, we're like, man, we started 45 days ago. And we was up and down. But you know what? When there's 21 days left This is my encouragement to you, and in my challenge in inviting you. Let's do this now so we can have our 21-day challenge, the last 21 days of the year, and knock out the end of the year forming a habit. It takes 21 days to form a habit. So imagine going into January 1st, we've already formed a habit, and our 2022 is the best year of our life. That's setting us up for 2023, which is going to be a better year. Let's be intentional so that every single year gets better. Every single year we improve. I'm not trying to tell you to be a robot. Just every single year we get a little bit better. So that way we don't look back and say life managed us. We was intentional about our lives, and we managed it. We rocked it. We killed it. We got to do everything we wanted to do. Don't go to the grave with all kinds of dreams and goals and inventions in your mind, books you should have wrote. Let's do this together. Be intentional. Change this world and not leave it in regret, because you were born boundless. I love you all. I hope this helped. Every single day, just a step closer to being boundless. Have a great day.